Hello, dear viewer, and welcome to another episode of the Catholic League Forum. I'm Mike McDonald, Director of Communications at the Catholic League, and this is Bill Donohue, President and CEO of the Catholic League. So let's just get right into it, Bill. We had another busy week, and probably our most standout issue had to involve dealing with Pope Benedict XVI and his non-refusal, not non-refusal, his non-apology statement. Now, we spoke about this a couple weeks ago in the Catholic League, one of the few organizations that proudly came to the defense of the Pope, said that, the Pope's been doing a good job. He put out a follow-up statement on this, and I just want to know why you think he was right to not apologize.
Well, nobody should apologize for anything unless they've done something wrong.
Right.
We live in a country where a number of white people are apologizing for being white. They're either phonies or they're psychotic. Now, what I like about Pope Benedict is that he admits, and there's no proof that he's ever done anything wrong. That's the important thing. There's no proof that he did anything wrong. And so why in the world would he apologize for something he hasn't done? He's not psychotic and he's not a phony. Look, he was the Archbishop in Munich, 1977, 82. There were 4 cases there that some people say he should have handled better. Well, in one of the cases, he was there at a meeting where they said that the guy needed therapy. They didn't discuss why. So he did get therapy. That's what people did back then. So what was the big deal? The other 3 cases, they tried to say, well, he didn't handle them correctly, but there was no evidence that he did anything wrong. I actually said that maybe he didn't do enough about some priest who evidently was an exhibitionist. But I apologized then because I was taken in by face value by his critics, by this law firm, which was commissioned by the Munich Archdiocese to do a study on sexual abuse by the clergy over the last couple of decades. They made that charge. It seemed plausible to me from the way it was written. I found out it wasn't even true at all. In fact, he condemned it. So that's the reason I had to put it out, right, to defend him.
Bill, one more thing. You brought up the critics there. I think that's a very interesting point. Pope Benedict XVI, when he was the Pope, he did so much on protecting minors. But he still has so many critics. Why do you think that is?
This goes back to his days as a cardinal, when he was head of the Office of the Congregation of Doctrine of Faith, basically the moral policeman in the Catholic Church. They've hated him ever since. They also hate him because he is the one who said that if you're a man who has deep-seated homosexual tendencies, the Catholic Church is not for you. If you're involved in the gay subculture, don't become a priest.
Right.
All right? And that this is common sense. But there are people out there, not just in the gay community, but beyond that, who've been out to get him for years on this. There's scurrilous charges against the man who's done more to defend the Catholic Church against clergy sexual abuse. No one has done more than Pope Benedict XVI, so these charges are invidious.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we dealt with a couple of other issues this week, and one really stood out in particular. My home state, the great state of Florida, has been doing a lot of good work down there, and one of the bills that they're moving forward in the state Senate involves a piece of legislation that would keep primary grades K through 3 from learning about sexual education. You often refer to these people, Bill, they're not sexual educators, they're sexual engineers, trying to poison the minds of children, giving more, the state's trying to give more power to parents, protect the kids. So a lot of good stuff, but again, critics coming out of the woodwork, and probably the biggest critic had to have been the president, Joe Biden.
The devout Catholic president? Is that the same guy that I talked about, the one who liked the ice cream? Yeah, let me tell you something. This was really scary, that he would come out and condemn a bill as hateful, which simply says that you're not supposed to be involved in encouraging kids to change their sex at a young age. Isn't that just common sense?
Right.
Does Biden want to be associated with that? Evidently he does, and obviously we have a problem here between the government and the parents. I'm on the side of the parents.
Right.
They know best for their kids, not some bureaucrat sitting in Washington,
absolutely,
or even in their local school district.
Yeah, absolutely. But Bill, you also made another point about this. Biden's statement sort of raises some questions about what's going on with the White House. Could you explain that?
Yeah, what's going on with him in his head as well. He comes out and he talks about the LGBTQI plus people. Now, I think everybody knows that Biden has not a clue what the I is or what the plus is. Actually, not most people wouldn't know anyhow. So obviously he's not running things. If they asked him what the I is, which I think it means intersex, which has no meaning whatsoever, it's another fiction, and the plus means beyond everything you can imagine yourself to be, that just suggests to me that this guy's not in command. He's not running the White House.
Right.
Some left-wing loons are.
Yeah. And finally, I guess everyone's going to be watching. I won't. I haven't watched the NFL in years. But the Super Bowl's this weekend, Bill. And you've had a very strong piece out this week that sort of looks at the hypocrisy of the NFL in terms of what they're doing on social justice and then who they choose to have as their halftime show.
Yeah, the commissioner is Roger Goodell. And he's a super left-wing guy. He's pretty much an activist at this point. He's been lecturing us for the last several years how racist and rotten America is. I've seen his statements. He's the one who says, let's have signs, end racism on the apparel, and have the black national anthem. He's bending over backwards. White people are racist and what? And he also says that in their own rule book, you can't use abusive and insulting language. He was responsible, which I will give him credit for this, back in around 2014, I think it was, that he said you can't use the N-word. Now, we know that the black players use it all the time, all right? We know that because Richard Sherman used to play for the Seahawks, a quarterback, and he now plays for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He said, I hear it all the time, so what's the big deal? Now, okay, he's against the N-word. Fine. I think most Americans are against the use of the N-word. But then we find out who's going to be at the halftime. You're going to have people like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, or Dre, what is the guy's name?
Dr. Dre.
See, you're younger than me, Dr. Dre, yeah. You would know who Dr. Dre is. And Lamar Kendrick, is that his name?
I think so. I'm a country western guy myself.
Okay, I like Garth Brooks. But anyhow, these people always use the N-word. Now, Mary Blige doesn't use the N-word, and Eminem doesn't use the N-word, and they're on the halftime, and we're okay with them. But you have these three other people who, what they've said about women, what they've said about blacks, they're black themselves, what they have had to say about cops, the filthy language that they use, and they drop the N-word all the time, as much as 40 times in one song itself. So why would you feature these people who are racist, according to Goodell?
Right.
Because why would you use them?
Yeah, and just to bring it back to a bit of a Catholic perspective, right, we always talk about in the church treating everyone with human dignity. And you can't treat people with dignity when you refer to yourself or anyone else with such vile language. There are comments about women and cops just beyond the pale, but they're going to put them up on a pedestal.
Not only that, but we just found out today that Snoop Dogg has another sexual assault lodged against him. So they're going to have these guys out there. Now, look, young kids, those are the ones I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the adults. I'm worried about the young kids going up. They're watching Cincinnati against L.A., okay? Everybody hopes it's a good game. The kids are learning that, you're not supposed to be prejudiced against blacks, which is great. We should be all racially sensitive, and you shouldn't use the N-word. And guess who they're going to be entertained by?
Right.
3 out of 5 of them are big devotees of dropping the N-word. So the kid's going to get the impression that if you invite these guys, then it's obviously, it doesn't matter. Goodell is a fraud, all right?
Yeah.
This is a stunt. It's a PR stunt. They're going to get a lot of money from the halftime, and they don't care who they bring in. They are playing the American people, and I think the American people should reject what's going on.
And dear viewer, as we mentioned here, we are not rap connoisseurs, so definitely do go to our website, catholicleague.org. It is a little spicy on the way we have the lyrics presented, but it's definitely worth knowing if you're a parent, grandparent, and don't know what your kids are listening to. We really dived down into it, and I frankly was shocked at just how bad some of these things were. Also, another thing we should probably highlight about this one, Bill, is we did have an email contact for someone on the NFL for a good way for you to get involved to express your outrage. And if you don't want to wait till just Friday update from the Catholic League, consider signing up for our email list. You can do that on our website right there on the home page. Just type in your email, click submit, and you'll get our near daily emails. And they're great ways for you to get involved so you can help us in this fight to extend good traditional Catholic values. Well, Bill, another busy episode, another week, so I think this is a good point to wrap it up. But I would just like to remind our dear viewer, if you would click the like and subscribe button, that would also greatly help us. Thanks so much.